Yeah, bro. Ready to show force?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. We wouldn't be here, honestly, no joke, without you, without God, without your support, man. So thanks for watching.
That's the truth.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I was just thinking, it's even after doing this like 3 years, man, you want to come on here and you want to show your best self. There's like a tendency to veer away from certain discussion topics, even to this point. And I try to be pretty vulnerable, man.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, man, we're gonna keep it real. We're gonna keep it raw because I think that's the only way to actually help people out, man. Because there's guys and gals watching this right now. They're like, dang, man, maybe I can't. Jimmy and T-Cav seem to have it together. Maybe you don't think that, but maybe you do. Maybe you're like, what the heck is he talking about? But like these guys, they talk this big game in front of the camera and stuff, and we try to be as authentic as possible. But as we were talking about before this, hey, we deal with all kinds of things, man. Yeah. And it's a daily battle, and I think that's really important to communicate to the masses out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, everybody. If you want people to be authentic with you, you have to be authentic because it's that like frequency, right? Same frequencies attract, and people also today see so many people. So they see so much body language. It's not like when we were cavemen and you saw like 5 people in your life. You see thousands. And so the people's ability to recognize inauthentic body language or authentic language right now is at an all-time high. And so you really got to bring it authentic or people just snuff it out, dude. Straight up.
Yeah, people are like, okay, this is just another show.
Yeah, just another show. And so part of that is saying shit that I wouldn't like to say, or you would like to say. I think that's a huge piece of it.
It's huge, and it's not easy, but neither is life. So, but real quick, big shout out to Counterculture for putting this all together. Counterculture is awesome, man.
Straight up, guys been crushing it, man. Counterculture Inc., dude.
Yeah, and we're sponsored by this HP-TRT. So if you're not on that TRT or you want to switch over to a legitimate company, you want to have it lightning fast to your door, and that's the whole package. It's not just TRT, it's all the stuff that goes into it, and they'll get you straight up lined up today. Just go to hp-trt.com, and that's OTH20 is that major discount code. Don't forget that, OTH20, right?
It's also being smart, man. I mean, if you just want more information, blood work, right? Blood work's powerful because it's not like doing it back in the day, like a lot of us has all done it, buying shit out of the back of a car just slamming shit. I was doing steroids, full on juicing at 16 in Tijuana, back of fucking strip clubs and shit, dude. We would drive down from Poway, where I'm from in San Diego. We would drive down in like a convoy of lifted trucks, walk across because it was pre 9/11 and then post 9/11. Have some drinks, some adios motherfuckers, slam some steroids, go to the strip club, and then drive back to football practice. And be back by I'm like, dude, totally not safe. I think we were 15, man, 16 doing that shit. And it's, that was not the way to do it. So now things have evolved and you can get your blood work. Also, it's going to tell you any, micronutrient deficiencies as far as, hormonal issues. And so there's a lot of things that you can really do could be optimized, man. Be optimized so you can actually function at your highest state.
And I'll tell you what else, man, it does. Like I got some family members that are on it and stuff, and I can attest to this too, but your belly fat, just on TRT, your belly fat goes down. Yeah. And it's not like it's a magical thing you just take. Don't get on freaking TRT if you're not gonna work out, if you're not gonna at least try to get on the right diet. I call it lifestyle eating. You know what I'm saying, right?
you know, and we won't hit on it too long, but it's just people talk about cheating, and I say if you don't want to do it, don't fucking do it. But why would you talk shit about somebody who does? It's such a weird thing. And I go, just because you won't, who gives a shit, dude? We're not hitting a ball with a stick here, man. I'm trying to live my best life. There's no fucking cheating at what? What the fuck are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
It's like, well, this ain't no game here, bro. I'm just trying to feel good. And also, there's a lot of guys who've been in the military, police, first responders, spikes in adrenaline, things that drive down testosterone. Bro, if you've just been sitting on your mom's couch and you're skinny and you're hating on motherfuckers that are doing some natural hormone, dude, it's like, bro, go do some shit and then talk some shit.
Yeah, at least go to hp-trt.com, use that discount code, get your blood work done, and then make a decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what I say, man.
That's what I say, dude.
Evaluate it. You know?
Yeah, evaluate
it's not for
it.
everybody, but
make a good choice, man. And dude, and
We'll join our regularly scheduled program after these messages.
Hey guys, this episode was brought to you by T1RX. Now, this pre-workout supplement, I know there's a lot out there, and I've tried probably like 20 or 30 of them, and I'm telling you right now, T1RX was not only created for our tactical community, but it was created by operators for you. So whether you're stacking those wins in your business, or you're stacking them plates in the gym, you want to get sliced, diced, jacked, racked, and stacked, get on that T1RX today. Make sure you go grab it today, man. They are mission focused, and I'm telling you right now, if I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about what all is in it, because it's pretty dang incredible stuff. So go check them out right now. All right, so remember, T1RX is built to serve. It's mission ready. So go build your stack today at T1RX.com. Hey guys, when the mission is over, your mind's still spinning, whether you're about to go on an op or you're about to go to sleep, you don't need all that garbage, all those weird drinks. All you need is Halo. Halo is an odorless, flavorless THC mix that you can mix in whatever drink that you want. So make sure you grab that Halo today, all right? So unless you're operating heavy machinery or driving down the road, make sure you go to drinkhalo.com.
Return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
just going back to kind of how we ended up linking, the first time I met Jimmy, I'm post Hell Week, sitting out in front of my room. I'm in my, I have my blue helmet. I think we were in second phase or right at the end of first phase. And so I'm shining my knife or just getting it sharpened up. And this dude in this red helmet comes walking by.
Big red dog.
And people that have been in different selections know anybody that's even a little bit ahead of you.
Yeah,
you know,
he's like
it's gonna talk shit. It's like way up there, man. Especially a bunch of like, man, dude's in third phase. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
And so he walks by and he looks and I was out there with another homie who was still operating at the tip of the spear. What's up, man? And he walks by and he goes, and I'm like, oh, what's this gonna do? This corn-fed motherfucker gonna say? He go, hey man, you guys had a real cold Hell Week, man. That shit looked hard, man. Good job. And I'm like, thanks, man. And you're like, well, see you later. You fucking went up the stairs, and I'll never forget. I was like, that was the first interaction that we ended up having, and then we ended up through SQT and then having mutual contacts, getting pretty close, man.
And I hate to say this, man. And I'm not glorifying partying at all and all this. And you got to drink to be cool. But in the teams, and I know in a lot of different military groups, it's like, I mean, I've met jet pilots that like, oh, they all hang out together. They get smashed at the bar, right?
Yep.
And so a big thing, we're going to talk about like the parties in the SEALs and then what that led to. And I thought about this a lot, how it does build a certain camaraderie. I think that's where we built a lot of our camaraderie. Is you're hanging out a lot, you're drinking a lot, and you're partying together.
Yeah, we had we would go and we'd get sushi, man, but we'd go train.
Yeah,
I remember going to hit up the stairs in San Diego Convention Center. We'd go like work out, train, then go get some sushi, and then go hang out. But we had there was a lot of cool bonding experience. Go up to the bar or order like 9 bottles of champagne and just carry around a bottle of champagne. Man, it was funny. And a lot of, you see people at their best, at their funniest, that really kind of exposed and honest self. And it's unique. And I think that there's also a season of that, right? So there's a season of these times where, you know, you're in your 20s or, you know, you're in whatever, maybe even early 30s, where it's like there's a season of that. But at some point, there's like a tipping point where shit starts to get muddled and you already know better, and also you just have more responsibility and shit to do. And so there's that season, and it's being aware of when you're at that tipping point, because there's motherfuckers homeless walking around, dude, who never got that tipping point. You know, they just pushed past that, where they're starting to get those karmic violations and feeling all like the mistakes and the waking up hungover. And at some point you have to realize and realign of where those priorities are. But at the time, it was very much what we were doing, and we had a lot of fun doing it, man. And it was interesting experience.
Plus, you got to survive, but you got to survive it is the problem.
Yeah,
you've got to survive it, and then the certain things that come at you while you're partying in the teams or wherever you are, and you've got to survive all that. And then there's fights, you know. And I know that you were involved in a couple big ones in Vegas, man. That started a lot of drama and stuff in your life. I know I was in a couple. I mean, after my little brother died, I just stayed in this like state of like swing first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
And you know, you remember me. I like walked around with a black eye and in PB for most of my career.
I don't think I ever saw Jimmy without the bouncers would be like, "Oh, that dude's got a black eye." I'm like, "Man, he always looks like that." They're like, but you're really playing with a lot of fire. People that don't understand selection pipelines, for the most part, if you get an alcohol-related incident, you're fucked. Right, you're out. And so if you can make it through that, I had a close one in SQT, man, where, you know, I was just out late and walking, and the cop's like, "Hey, dude, what's going on?" And he was cool with me. He had let me go sleep it off with like the bums in a warehouse and didn't do any paperwork. I wasn't being a dick or doing anything fucked up, but still, right at the cusp of SQT, man. Oh, the amount of guilt, dude. I went to Catholic church the next day, dude. I went to church, and this is not good to pray, you know, when you need some stuff, but I was so just right at the end of this long pipeline, and I'm like, what's going to come of this? And it's just waiting for the avalanche, and it ended up working out all right. We had some good senior enlisted advisors in the cell we were in, but it's guilt and shame, and we've talked about it a lot in our Jimmy and I together, of those are the worst states on the map of consciousness. You know, people that are aware of the map of consciousness, those ladders, guilt and shame are at the bottom. And when you're operating there, and we've all been there. Any man watching this we've all been there, man. It fucking sucks, dude.
It's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Like in something that, you know, I've never shared before, because it's quite embarrassing, but you know, it's important to like be raw and real here. And I can remember after I had this massive spiritual like awakening on house arrest. I've told the story a bunch, but it's like where these two guys literally prayed for me, and then started getting this download, and they started speaking into me. And they started saying, like, I was at this house. It was when I was with John McAfee. There was a dark path that I would walk down when I would cry out to God. And it made me realize, how are you? Like, I got real pissed off. I said, "How are you doing this?" And they said, "Well, this is what we do here. We ask Jesus about this." And man, that blasted me. And so from that point on, I think I told you, man, like for maybe almost a year, I was like this eagle flying above the Grand Canyon. I was free. And I'm on house arrest, bro.
Yeah, you felt good.
And then, but it's the little bitty things. And, you know, I think sometimes people may see my story and they're like, "Oh man, I want that. I want that." And now life is grand, and you're never going to be subject to falling down flat on your face again. You're never going to be part of that guilt and shame. Well, I'll tell you, man, right before I got off house arrest, just a couple days before I got off house arrest, and this ain't nothing. This ain't the little bitty like the preacher goes, and I had some coffee, and I have to get rid of that. You know, that's my sin. It's like, no, it gets way worse. But I took a little lorazepam from my mom, a Valium, on house arrest 2 days before I was getting released, case dismissed.
You're 12. Like, "Oh, I'm done."
Yeah, they bring me in to do a piss test. I don't even think about it. I'm like, "Yeah, let's do a piss test," you know? And they bust me for this little bitty Valium, and they're like, "Look, we got to reevaluate your case. We got to do this." Bro. And that's not even the bad part, you know? You think I would learn from that. And I went out to my truck there, man. I started like shedding tears because I had made it so far. God has met me. Now I'm doing stupid shit still. I'm like, I took this little pill from my mom, and that's not even it. It's the little bitty things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then I end up getting all, of course, once you're free from that, they let me go. They're like, okay, this one time, slap you a little corner time. I end up going like a horse at the Del Mar races out at the track.
Yeah.
And I go to Tulum, Mexico, and everything's going great. I'm still preaching that fire message, how God met me, being that lighthouse that I know I've been called to be. And but I got caught off guard, and I started doing some Adderall.
Yep.
And I started doing some other things.
Yeah.
But I'm okay. I'm okay because on camera, I'm still good.
Yeah.
I still got people coming in and saying, man, that helped me out, man. That changed me,
Yeah.
all this stuff. And so, but I let it get out of control. I started dismissing my girl for nothing. I started finding the problems in her, the problems in everybody but myself, while I'm doing this stuff and I'm adding on certain things, certain drugs, so parties and all this stuff. And then eventually, man, I found myself literally stranded out in Tulum with no shoes on, without a shirt, in an absolute psychosis. Yeah, walking around. People are looking at me weirdos. I don't know where I am. I think my girl's the enemy. Yeah. I end up at my mom and dad's house in Dallas, Texas. Yeah. My girl is in Tulum, Mexico, bro. Mm-hmm. I go through the door with literally nothing to my name. Like I had my card, like a card or two. Yeah. Passport, everything's on.
You just lost everything?
Bro, I lost my luggage. I remember giving my luggage to somebody because they wanted to help me. They put it in their car and drove off. And I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, just completely not tracking.
I sat down with my mom and dad, and they looked at me, and they said, Jimmy, Anastasia's not the enemy, and all this. And I had this such overwhelming guilt and shame because I had come so far. Yeah. And here I am. This was like 3 years ago. Here I am. I thought I was good, and sometimes we think we're good as men and we're flying high in the world. And then you find yourself at mom and dad's, man, facing the music again. And I'm just going, oh my God. And, then you had to go through this massive guilt and shame. Yeah. This calling your girl like, baby, I swear, like I didn't mean to do this. And they're looking at you like, wow.
Yeah, dude.
Financial recovery. So when people ask like, have I slipped up before? As hard as it is to admit, and I'm not saying other influencers out there or other guys out there, slip up. I'm speaking on my behalf, man. Mm-hmm. Look, it's a struggle. It's a fight, Things have been good, lately, but I have to remember like, hey, man, you're never like on Mount Everest, like for the whole time. You got to come back down.
We'll join our regularly scheduled program after these messages.
Man, let me tell you, ghost bed. Sleep so good, it's scary. Man, you want to wake up terrified, bro, because of how good you slept, man? Let me tell you what. Ghost bed, dude. I like that name, too, man. Like that name. Ghostbed.com, promo code OTHER for that solid discount, man. Dude, let me tell you, you and I both know what not sleeping well and not sleeping for days is like, man. Days, weeks. Don't let that psychosis slide in there because you don't have that ghost bed, man.
There's nothing worse than not being able to sleep because you're on some piece of crap mattress.
Grab that ghost bed. Once again, ghostbed.com, promo code OTHER. That's OTHER, man.
Like being suspended in space. Ghost bed.
Revenge is an act of passion. Vengeance is an act of justice. Injuries are revenged. Crimes are avenged. Almost a century ago, big pharmaceutical companies re-engineered medical school curriculum and faculty with one goal: putting profit before progress. Anyone pushing back against the medical matrix they carefully crafted was threatened, silenced, censored, financially ruined, or worse. They are the problem. We are the solution.
You're clear to engage. Initials Mike Juliet Alpha. You're clear to engage with weapons. You're clear to engage with weapons. Gotcha.
Return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Dude, it's strange when you reflect back on like just a shitty night, you know, at a shitty time. I remember I hit you up when I was in the Foreign Legion, and I'm like, pretty good. I'm kind of still early on in my contract, maybe mid, but you know, we go out and I'm like kind of by myself, and then you just off the beaten path, and then next thing I know, I'm like waking up on a park bench, dude.
Yeah,
like
dude.
just in a different country with, you know, things can go south, dude. Like you lose your card and your passport and stuff. Like, where are you going? And then I'm in a foreign military and just being like running out of money, you know, and just being in a state of like, damn, dude. So, and then looking back and going, what was I thinking? Like, why did I just throw my sunglasses over there and throw my phone over there? And like, just absolute, just insanity. And then consistently, and then falling back into that again. It's like, and it's really this build up process, and you go, I'll never do that again. And then why do a lot of us, and it's just this constant learning process, have this like, you like forget.
Well, it's also like, you know, I go back to David in the Bible, man. He's like, he's done all this stuff. He's slayed giants. He's conquered kingdoms. He's the king of his palace. A lot of people know the story. He's walking around in his prime of his time, but he's lacked that purpose. It says he wasn't with the army. He wasn't back with his army fighting. Yeah. And of course, he sees a beautiful girl naked, and he goes and gets her husband killed, you know, orders his death, and then he has to pay the penance. Then he has to fall down on his knees. He loses a lot, and we lose a part of ourselves when we go through that. But something, you know, it says that David was cut out after God's own heart. You know, so as men, I believe we're cut out of God's heart. But part of that being cut out of God's heart is you're going to have to face the music at times in your life, and we're going to fall down. It's not an excuse. Yeah. And if you don't fall down, better man you are. Yeah. But if you do fall down, the greatest thing that you can do, the greatest comeback, is you just come to full surrender. You come to full surrender. You lay it out on the table, say, okay, this is who I am. This is who I am really. You know, I may fool other people, but I got to face the music. I got to look in the mirror, and I've got to come to full terms with who I am. And then all of a sudden, you're picked back up. You just got to, it's like remember where you came from, right?
And there's a huge piece that you said there. It's like that accountability piece is, you know, my life didn't start to get better until I really, when I did fall down, start being like, yeah, it was me.
Yeah.
It wasn't, nobody made me drink or made me do that. It was not my chick. It wasn't anybody else. It wasn't my past. And so steer clear of that shit. Like any language that takes the responsibility out, like, oh, it's my trauma, or I'm an alcoholic, so I can't. It's like there's none of that's all water, man. It's like, no, you wanted to do this, you did it, and now you're paying the fucking man for it.
Yeah, I think it goes for everything in this life, man. I honestly, I talk to a lot of guys. I know you have extremely successful coaching with men. I talk to them all the time. They're like, yeah, I'm on the TCAF program, you know. And the thing is I get a lot of guys that say, Jimmy, you don't understand. Well, first of all, don't ever tell me I don't understand, you know, because big disclaimer here, I do. I've been through a lot of shit, you know, in TCAF history, a lot. You'd be surprised, right? And so sometimes guys will be like, man, you don't understand. She's crazy. You know, and she did this, and she did this, and she did this. And I'm like, dude, you've got a long ways to go, homie. Yeah. Because you're going to realize in a couple of years all the things that you did wrong to get there. You start to, I had to go through that. I played the blame game my whole life on all 100%. Kinds of shit.
100%.
Whether it was the FBI getting me, tracking me down, the DOJ, my ex did this and this and this. Well, I mean, really, why did she do all that? You know, I had to face the music. I had to really be like, dang, dude, you know, it was me. Even if it's not you, she may be crazy. It's still you. If you think about it, you still got to be like, what can I do? Okay, forget her. Forget trying to change anybody. Yeah. Forget trying to seek validation. Right? It's like, how can I better myself?
Well, nobody can make you do any type of thing. I know I've been in, relationships before, dude, that were, definitely mutually chaotic, but I fed into it. And I probably made it happen. I probably made it chaotic and probably did because the fish stinks from the head, man. And as men, we're the head of the household. Now, the minute you put blame on somebody else, you're also taking all the power away from you. Are you saying you don't run the shit?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're saying, well, she's crazy and this, well, that might very well be the case. And if it is that bad, then you can leave, right? There's nobody keeping you any type of way. There's so many different options than feeding into it. And men got to be careful, bro. Like we were just talking about guys having some different domestic disputes and things and, guys in different areas and first responders and obviously military, dude, it is your entire life and world that's wrapped up into having one bad situation. And like I said, it's always the thing that is you don't see coming, that vengeful ex or this or that calls and now you've lost your career or whatever it might be. It's be smart about the people you're around and be smart about the person you are and be smart about the people you're around. You take care of those two things. Yeah. You're going to mitigate a fuck ton of issues in your life.
Yeah. And something that I heard the other day, man, they said the number one characteristic or trait or whatever that a woman looks for in a man is it's not money, it's not looks, it's not this personality, it's actually self-control. Yeah. And so self-control, man, self-control of your life, like and being able to self-correct is huge. Yeah. Is huge, right?
The self-control piece, man, because I get so mad at myself even thinking back just times where I lost self-control. The only times in my life where I've ever woken up with regret or when I broke character, right? Yep. And so that's breaking of character, dude, blacking out, fucking getting mad, whatever it might be, not being, just breaking character and losing control. Those are the only times I'm ever regretful. Because all the times I even maintain control and awareness of what I'm doing, dude, if you're actually somewhat solid of a human and morally clear, you're not going to have issues. That's not saying that we don't make some mistakes or start to recognize where we could be better. But really, true regret and shame always comes from me breaking character. And that's
it's also like taking a pause. Like I was telling you this earlier, you have a buddy call you from the past or whatever. He's like, hey, I'm in town, bro. Let's go out and have drinks. My personality is literally like, yo, bro, what's up? Let's go. Yeah. I've learned now because of my past mistakes, because that leads into a strip club all night, and God only knows what else. Yeah. Because I've already maximized my party time. I've already been there, done that. I baptized myself after a 3 or 4 day Coke binge. Like I've done it all, right? Yeah. And so the level for me is drink, drugs, go crazy, women, all this, a huge fight, or who knows, got all this stuff. Yeah. And so now, I've learned to be like, oh, you're in town. What's up, man? Oh, you want to have drinks? A pause, and really think about what you're going to do and how where is that really going to leave? And have you really changed as a man to think that you can go and try to grab that cheese from that mousetrap and not get hit? You ain't gonna, no.
Bro, I got smashed by rat traps.
A freaking bear trap,
bro,
son.
I've been smashed by rat traps, dude. And we talked about the cascading of choices, right? The avalanche from that initial choice. Like for me, it'll be, I'm just gonna stay in. And dude, here's the scary part. I fucking try, dude. And I want, right? And my man Julio, Amon's a former ex-cartel guy, said this, fucking saw it. He goes, man, for a lot of my life, I wanted to do good, but I didn't know how. And then now when you start to know how, then now that battle becomes so internal, and it's like, it'll catch you by surprise. For so many days, you be good. But here's the truth, and this was the truth in my life. I was good 99% of the time, maybe 95% of the time. But that 5% where I kind of was like, you know what? What's the big deal? It's not a big deal. Ruined the other 95. That 5%, that one small percentage crushed my whole world down. And I don't know if it's just karmically or universally like that for everybody, but just the one slip up, that one off fuck removed 1,000 attaboys. like water, dude. Just smashed my house down, and I was always caught with all these pieces in my hand, going, "What the fuck happened?" And then looking back and going, "Why did I make that decision?" Right there, I knew better. I knew better to get in that car. I knew better than to go out. I knew, and it's you never have to justify a beautiful decision, right? You want that beautiful life. You got to make beautiful choices. And if you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go kind of lie with the dogs for a little bit, dude, you're gonna rise with fleas, dude. It's how it goes down, bro. And so I think Benjamin Franklin said that. I love that, but it's so true, man. You want to go mix it up and be around people who aren't on the same kind of eternal path of like a higher frequency, dude. You're gonna get fucking slammed.
Yeah, and you're not. And one thing that I've learned with my life, you're not getting away with anything.
No,
you can. Like, you can fake it. You can. And the problem with like high performers, I know you're a high performer. I'm a high performer. When I was in the teams, and it was like I may not caught everything the first time, but on that second time, I was first time every time. You know what I mean? But you know when you're like that, then you're resourceful, and then you're like, dude, I never get caught. I'm always either lucky or something, and it catches up to you. It's the little bitty things, like when I like the. You know, out of all the stuff that I've done in my life, I took a little value from my mom.
Yeah,
because I had those patterns.
Yeah, you're used to doing what you want.
Give me that. Yeah,
it's not a big deal.
And then I get busted by the probation officer, and they're like, hey, they're looking at reevaluating your 12 to 15 years from a little bitty. I mean, I don't know if you've seen a lorazepam, the tiniest little white pill gets me reevaluated for 12 to 15 in the feds. That's insane if you think about it. But I had done a lot of things to build those patterns.
Dude, I'm in the Foreign Legion, right? And we go out. Some guys go out and this and that. We're in Marseille. And this is like my first year in, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to be lining back up, and I'm going to be, solid on this path. And some guys go out, some South Africans go out. We all split up. They get in trouble, lose some shit, and some shit happens, right? I'm supposed to be coming back with them. So we have to go through the gate together, but they lost their military IDs. A bunch of shit happened. I'm on this chick's balcony, sitting, about ready to go back. We're going to go back later that day. And she's like, hey, you want a hit of this joint? And I'm like, yeah, right? And I go, yeah. And I go, what's the big deal? Like, I hadn't done nothing all night. We went out, but nothing crazy. And I go, yeah. And you can't make this shit up, dude. I take a puff, and weed isn't even good for me, man. I just get paranoid anyway.
I get paranoid, bro. So I hate weed.
I'll tell about a blunt you smoked. I smoked with you one time. It's funny.
God, you know me when I smoke, bro.
I hit this joint, and I go, I'm like, all right. It's like kind of sun's coming up, a little hungover, but all right. We're about to go back to base, and going back to Foreign Legion is just shitty, man. And so right when I finish, I get a call, and he goes, Cav, we got a problem. And he goes, oh, Clayson, we got a problem, right? Because Clayson, we got a problem. And I go, motherfucker. He goes, dude, I lost my ID. We got in a fight, and there's like all my shit. We're going to have to go back to the gate, and I need you to like. So I know we're walking through the Foreign Legion gate with heat, right? And they drug test without heat. So they're going to drug test us and all this shit. And I go, man. Sure enough.
Is it a zero tolerance?
No, dude, that's the thing about the Foreign Legion. They go, I'm not letting you get away that easy. You fail a drug test, so you're just going to get slammed, right? Now, it ended up working out okay. We kind of squeaked through, and it wasn't like a huge issue. But just that whole ride up, dude, it's like a 2-hour ride. I'm like just dreading it. I'm like, why do we do this to ourselves where we know better? It's that small little thing, man, where it's you don't even like it.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing that bites you in the ass, bro.
Yeah, that whole zero tolerance, that's funny you say that, man. A lot of times you would text me and you're like, bro, man, they're punishing me again. I'm carrying freaking bricks around the base. And I'm like, I'm on the run. And I'm like, okay, do I go home and get arrested, or do I go with TCAV and carry bricks around the freaking base in a wheelbarrow for the rest of my life? I'm like, okay, let's go back to Dallas, Texas, and get arrested.
I'll go deal with the feds. The Foreign Legion has this really interesting way to punish people where they make you stack rocks into pyramids. And so all these bases all over the world, every Legion base has these big pyramids. And so sometimes they'll make them as tall as you or a little bit smaller, depending upon the gravity of the situation. Every foreign Legion base has a little jail at it too, which is technically illegal in France, but they have it. You pretty much break big rocks into small rocks, do yard work, and then every morning you get up, you have to grab like a 15-kilogram rock and run like a 10K around the thing holding this rock. And then when you finish it, you put it down in front of the base. And so there's these like great pyramids. And I had gotten called out for shitty marching. And the colonel goes, hey, the cette légionnaire, the American avec le tatouage, il marche comme cette merde. He marches like shit. And the colonel, the French colonel, right? He knows that he rules with an iron fist. And so I get called down to the office. I'm in the push-up position for 2 hours getting screamed at. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? They're like, you marched shitty today. The colonel saw you. And I marched with a little swag, dog. He didn't like it. For 3 days, and I'll kind of leave it out with this one. 3 days, I had to make a pyramid as tall as myself in the December snow, sleet, rain, and go put 3 rocks in my bag, walk 10, 15 minutes, put 3 rocks back, it took me 16 hours a day for 3 days. It took me to build that shit
Dude,
up.
this is like movie stuff, man.
Yeah, and that pyramid was still there by the time I left, man.
That's what they ought to do in the Marines. They had zero tolerance in the Marine Corps, and the problem with that is it was so shitty in the Marines, like cleaning your bathroom with half a grapefruit and then having to eat it. You're like, dude, they're like straight up guys are doing drugs to get kicked out because they had a zero tolerance. If you do drugs, you're getting kicked out, and so they realize, dude, this ain't working. We're losing all these Marines on purpose. And so they developed this CC, I think it was CCU, and I remember one of my buddies went there, bro, and he looked like a different person when he came back. He had lost like 50 pounds. He was like, oh, and he was like, bro, all day they made us say, they blew a whistle and they yelled CCU, and they raised their pickaxe from like I'm talking about 04 to late at night every single day for like a month or so, and they blow this whistle and say CCU, good for me, good for you, and just all together in a chain gang, dude, for a month. Dude, no, I mean, people stopped doing drugs after that,
bro. And that's dare, right? Do not do drugs, ladies and gentlemen, but
stay in school, man.
And you're gonna learn a lot when you do, the bad and good, man. Just once again, thanks to our sponsor, HP-TRT.com. OTH20s.
Let's
the
go.
affiliate code. Let's go, man.
Let's do it.